It's December 4th, and this is the home style video log. It takes 30,000 to 1,000,000. I want to talk about China, okay? Chinese stocks today, because obviously there's been a huge crash in Chinese names, especially the biggest ones. I don't know exactly what's going on with the rest of the market. I saw that, I briefly looked, and the Chinese market itself isn't as budged as some of these tech giants. So I want to talk about it today, what it means for you, me, and all the rest of us that hold them. I know a lot of you guys actually don't, judging by the comments, but it's cool. I'm doing it, and I want to talk about the structure a little bit, what it means, what are the possibilities, is some of this like fear warranted? But first, I want to show you all my crazy losses, since we're on this topic of having big down days. I know it's a little sunny because I'm trying a different setup, and I'm filming this during the day on setup, which is very rare. So I want to show you, okay, this is just Alibaba. When I show you my account, I'm actually down $24,000 from the highs. I did reach that $200,000 mark. If I go to the 1 week chart, you'll be able to see that I was actually, oh, maybe it doesn't show it here, but I was definitely, there you go. I hit the 2001 apparently $1,000, and now I'm down like $25,000. So not cool, but you know what, it's fine. Mainly these losses were due to Alibaba, JD, VIPS, which is VIP shop or VIP shop, whatever, however you want to pronounce it. So all the Chinese names are really far down. I'm gonna just briefly scroll through the list just to get you through the account real quick. And if you wanna listen to my opinion and my updates and what I think is gonna happen to the shares of these big tech companies when it comes to the delisting risk and all that, you can just skip until you see my face all full blown up on the screen. So I'm gonna go through the positions real quick. I'm not even gonna talk about them. I'm just gonna briefly scroll just to update everybody on the account. So these are the options positions on the right. First of all, let me make sure that that you're seeing what I'm seeing, because it's kind of important. All right, yeah, and again, sorry for the brightness. All right, so just gonna scroll down. These are the options positions here. We got the symbol here, the ticker, then the price, the whether it's a call or a put, expiration date, number of contracts, whether it's a sell or a buy. You can see the change in price and in percentage terms and in dollar terms, the daily change in price in these options. I'm going to quickly scroll through. You can pause at any moment to try to figure out the exact positions that are in my account. These are the equity here. You can see the shares, the ticker, daily change on the right. Even Apple had a bad day on Friday. You can see JD, Alibaba. I actually sold 50 shares of Alibaba and bought a Leap, which is probably not the smartest thing you can do, especially why. I'll tell you why in a second. But I'm risking it. I'm risking it for a biscuit. So VIPS, I picked up some Goldman Sachs and one share of DD, just so, because DD is going to be getting delisted. I guess let me talk about it. So the reason why I got a share of DD, let me see, am I centered here? The reason why I got a share of DD is just so I can see exactly how the transfer process is going to work. And this is my speculation, okay? For all those that are owning Chinese stocks at the moment on US exchanges like symbol BABA or VIPS or DD. So these are what are called ADRs. They're whoa, that was weird. It was weird. So they're VIE ADRs. VIE stands for like variable interest entity or something like that. ADRs, American Depository Receipts. And first of all, just real briefly to go through the terms, VIE just means that you, the company you own is actually a company that has a contract with the underlying company for a share of its profits, okay? And they sell their own shares to own exchanges like the New York Stock Exchange in Germany, Hong Kong, etc., okay? That's the VIE. The ADR is just American Depository Receipt, and so those are the equivalent they're basically the way foreign stocks trade, foreign company trades on American exchanges. So that's what an ADR is. So when we talk about delisting, right? So there's been a lot of delisting talk in the news, especially since Didi is getting delisted because of whatever regulatory concerns Chinese government has for this company. It really puts the rest of the American listed names into question. Are they gonna knock them down for something? Maybe some kind of data breach or some information that the Chinese government does not want foreigners to have when it comes to their economy or their companies or whatever. So there is some legitimate risk there, but let's talk about like what it actually means and how that's going to play out. So one, as long which they've said that they actually encourage foreign investment, the Chinese regulators have said that, and they encourage listings in Hong Kong and whatnot. In fact, they're building another exchange in Beijing, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it's going to be like purely domestic or international, whatever, how that's going to work. But when it comes to these listings, they actually encourage Hong Kong listings of these VIE structures that I mentioned previously, because the reason why we have a VIE is because the Chinese government does not want any foreigner to have majority stake in any of their Chinese companies. They want domestic ownership of these companies, and therefore through the VIE structure, whoever owns those shares, they don't actually get voting rights, which is kind of the most important thing for them. They just get share of the profit. So that's why it works. This way, Chinese government can release, some of the profits in exchange for capital without releasing control over the governing bodies of the companies themselves. All right, so that's kind of the trick there. So what's going to happen now? My guess is that the reason why I bought that one Didi share is what's going to happen is this ADR is going to get converted to over-the-counter traded stock ADR. Okay, so it's going to be an OTC stock. Now this isn't too alarming because most likely the shares are just going to get converted like this overnight, and you're just not going to really feel it. If you're own these names on Robinhood, most likely they're just going to be blacked out for a day or two. It's going to be filed under corporate actions or something like that, and it's going to appear as the same name, or BABAF, and you're going to be able to trade it just like you were able to trade BABA just today, with some exceptions. One major one being that you're not going to be able to do options. Okay, so with ADRs, you're not able to buy and sell options on that name. So that's going to be a big hit for many. But I actually don't think that Alibaba is going to get delisted, even though some people are saying like, well, they need to disclose the names of all of the owners. They need to disclose whether the company is owned by a government. They need to disclose this and that. And I'm betting on the fact, in fact, I've put money on it, so I'm betting definitely on the fact that they're going to find some kind of workaround, and Alibaba is going to be still listed on the New York Stock Exchange under the names, under the same single BABA. And in fact, I think personally that there might be even more listings on the New York Stock Exchange besides Alibaba, besides the ones that we have right now. Some companies going to apply through the Chinese government, through the CCP, and they're going to request to list in overseas markets, including the New York Stock Exchange, and the government's going to let them for whatever reason. Maybe their data that the company in question is collecting is not that important to the Chinese government. And so once we have that listing, you will kind of see that, hey, wait a minute, this isn't that big of a deal. Like, new companies can still list on the New York Stock Exchange, and I think that the valuations might reach a more reasonable level. But as of right now, nobody knows how serious or how draconian, right? How hands-on, how iron the fist is of the Chinese government when it comes to these listings. Now, this isn't really that big of a deal. Like if you own Tencent at the moment, you own an ADR. You don't own something you're trading that over the counter, right? You're not trading on the New York Stock Exchange. You're trading at OTC. And so this isn't really that big of a deal. Like there are plenty of, I think Adidas and all kinds of companies that they're not traded on the New York Stock Exchange. You can still buy OTC. Robinhood offers a ton of them. So as long as they don't force you to sell the shares you have right now in order to convert them and make you convert them yourself, I think everything will be fine. If they force you to sell the shares you have right now, obviously there's quite a big of a risk, because force selling shares is going to drive the price down really far, and then somebody else is going to be getting these shares on the other side of that trade for dirt cheap, and that's just not very fair, right? It's not a very good way to do things, and there's going to be a lot of complaints. So I think that the what's going to most likely scenario is going to be is that there's just going to be a conversion, and your Baba shares will become like BABAF or something like that, and you'll just be able to trade it OTC. And what it is going to be cashed out is your options. If you have options on Alibaba, I believe that they're just going to trade them for cash. They're going to just liquidate them, and they're going to try to wash their hands off of that, and that's how it's going to go. So personally, I'm not that worried about it, because if this is the scenario that's going to play out, the businesses themselves are still intact, their fundamentals are still intact, their revenues are still intact, their sales, their earnings are still intact. Everything they have going right now is going to still be going regardless of how it's listed. The company's still there. And if I still have that VIE that I do right now, then everything is all good. Eventually, the price will match reality, right? Eventually, they're going to buy so many shares. Alibaba is, meaning they meaning Alibaba, is going to buy so many shares that it pushes the price up to what it needs to be, or they might even start paying dividends, which is not likely, or they're going to grow to the company to such a large extent that people will just be forced to buy it, right? It would be just like, there'll be, it's like one PE or something like that for a growth company. So eventually, if the price is cheap enough, people will bid it. So those are my thoughts on the Chinese stocks. Currently not worried. I own a ton of them, even though I've lost $25,000 so far on Chinese stocks, basically almost exclusively, since Apple went up a little bit since the downturn began. Even though I've lost so much money, I'm still optimistic, and I wish I had some more disposable income so I can put into the account, but I just don't. I need all the money I have, unfortunately, right now, so I can't reinvest anything. I could potentially sell like Visa, Goldman Sachs, and I guess that's it, and reinvest in Chinese, but I just have, such a large exposure. I would rather do it with like dividends I receive or options premium or something like that I can convert, rather than sell those two companies, because I actually think they're a very good deal as well. Visa and Goldman Sachs, that is. So I don't know. I might do it. Let's say if VIPS or Alibaba drop another 40%, I might actually just go for it and put more money in there, because I'm fairly certain things are going to work out the way they should. Okay, well, I've talked enough. Hopefully the lighting was okay, not a big issue here. Maybe this was useful for you, I don't know. I just want to update on the accounts. Might not be able to make a video tomorrow, that's why I made it today. And hopefully you all are making money, unlike me. And I'll end right here. I'll talk to you all next week. Peace.